Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Am I coming through now? Yeah, I can hear you. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah, you keep cutting in and out.
I can hear music in the background.
We bring you together today.
Called an audible because otherwise I wasn't going to be able to do this.
What was that? No, stop with the music for a second.
The advice provided on this podcast is general advice only. All statements made are considered by the participants to be accurate, but accuracy cannot be guaranteed. It has been prepared without taking into account your objectives, financial situations, or needs. All participants in this podcast, including guests, may have a financial interest in any or all of the products or services mentioned. Before acting on this advice, you should consider the appropriateness of the advice, having regard to your own objectives, financial situations, and needs. If any private products are detailed on this podcast, you should obtain a product disclosure statement relating to the products and consider its contents before making any decisions. Where quoted, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Recorded Friday, December 8th, 2017. It's the Money Path Podcast, special cryptocurrency edition, with your hosts, Bob Iacchino and Mike Arnold. On episode 100, we were going to do a clip show, but we made a nice little tight Bitcoin, Ethereum, IOTA, cryptocurrency, secret information episode. Enjoy.
All right, so Mike, Mars rocket.
All right, yeah. So the first payload, they're going to launch this rocket, I guess, sometime in this winter. But he's tweeting out the first payload to Mars is his Midnight Cherry Tesla Roadster playing Space Oddity. So he's going to put his car and launch it in this rocket and have it orbit Mars. And it's just going to be stuck in space orbiting Mars.
Why?
He's tweeting this out. Here's some of his tweets from this last week. Every 5,000th buyer of our boringly boring hat, his boring company sells hats that say boring on the top, will get a free hat signed by the delivery guy. Then he tweets that out. Love the thought of a car drifting apparently endlessly through space and perhaps being discovered by an alien race millions of years in the future. Payload will be my Midnight Cherry Tesla Roadster playing Space Oddity. Destination is Mars orbit. We'll be in deep space for 1 billion years or so if it doesn't blow up on ascent.
Wow.
Why is there no flat Mars society? He tweets out. As I said before, I am definitely a Martian. I think he's going for...
I do love why is there no flat Mars society. That's fantastic.
But I mean, I don't know what his strategy is with his Twitter account at this point. Besides, he'll have a good defense when Tesla blows up. That he's certifiably nuts.
I was crazy. You can't sue me.
Yes,
I was nuts the whole time.
In other Tesla news this week, they just patched the Model 3. They did the software patch for the existing Model 3s. Now this is really good because the Model 3s now have an FM radio and a tripometer. They did not have an FM radio or a tripometer until now.
Was that a moving software upgrade?
Yes, that was yeah, but you didn't. I can't take this car seriously. It didn't come out with a tripometer until now, so it wasn't actually a production car. What car comes out without a tripometer?
Did we get a close below that sloppy double top weekly from Tesla?
No, it's whole. That's why I said I wanted to close below 300, and that has not happened on a weekly basis.
Technically, on the 6th, the week of the 6th, rather, we got one, but it was still 302.
Yes, I said that 300 for some reason has stuck out to me like something's coming in to buy it every time it drops to 300, and it's not just the people I know.
It might be just the people you know. They're leveraged.
And by the way, Nissan just announced that its robo-taxis will hit the road in March, and it hopes to have a full fleet of self-driving Leafs on Japan's road by early 2020s. So just another self-driving thing in there. But I have a funny story to tie in with cryptos because we've had a lot of crypto nuts this week. Crypto's
been crazy.
Well, Bitcoin is these swings are absurd. Ahead of now there's three futures contracts coming out, Bob.
Mm-hmm. 3. We've got the SIBO version coming out Sunday. We've got the CME version coming out a week later on the 18th. And NASDAQ has not announced, but they're targeting that same weekend, the 18th. And then there's also a Nadex contract, which is obviously much, much smaller in terms of impact, but they're all over the place now. There's 4 contracts that are going to be launched. Hello?
Yeah.
That's all you asked me, right?
Well, you said there's 4 contracts that's going to be launched, and then it's like you cut out. I
stopped talking.
Oh, well, sort of like the exchange yesterday. What was it? GDAX is like closed down for 30 minutes in the middle of trading after it hit. You had Bitcoin go to like 19,600, then it dropped to 15,000. What's interesting is this. I think 7 of the last 10 days would have triggered the CME's halting of the Bitcoin futures, and yesterday it would have been halted multiple times throughout the day.
Okay, so this is part of my theory on what's going to happen with the futures contracts once they launch and are proven / liquid. Okay, those are 2 different things. So when the markets are mature, which could happen very quickly, depending on we don't really know how the institutions are looking at this, right? We assume they're just dying to get in, but they can't because of their charters, their investor profile, whatever. I think they're going to short the coin. They're going to short the physical, and they're going to buy the futures because there's no upside limit on the futures. So technically, if you've got circuit breakers in the Bitcoin futures, that isn't a perfect hedge. Not even close. So I think they're going to short millions and millions and millions of dollars of the futures. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, which I'm not, but a friend of mine who is mentioned this, he said he thinks, after I told him I think this was going to happen, he said, not only that, but don't tell me the big institutions don't have a direct line into the politicians who, once they've got enough shorts on in the physical, isn't going to outlaw the currency or do some sort of legislation that makes it just imminently less valuable in the short term. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I do think that with the futures contracts, it is more likely that institutions short the physical and buy the futures than the other way around, at least in the short term.
I want to know how it's going to work, though, because, all right, it's a cash-settled contract, right?
Yep.
So there's with all the shutdowns in it, because Bitcoin, with these massive swings, the futures contract's going to go on halts repeatedly, and even 2-minute halts, Bitcoin can be $2,000 different.
Yep.
So how is that? I mean, I don't know how that's tradable.
Well, again, that's the thing. That's why I do not think anyone that looks at this objectively is not going to hold Bitcoin and short the futures. Doesn't make all that would do would be accelerate the selling in futures. I mean, in the physical. They're going to use it in the other direction. So there's going to be a bigger impetus to short the coin than there was in the past. And anybody who wants to, be in that kind of contract, long the futures, is going to have the comfort of the circuit breakers.
I'm not feeling comforted.
Well, we don't care. I mean, I don't care. I just think that's the way they're going to do it. And when you go back again to the SEC's ruling on Bitcoin ETFs, they said there's nowhere for them to hedge off their risk. Well, take the other side of that, right? If the public has no way to hedge off their risks, that would mean selling the futures. What would the institutions be doing then? Buying the futures.
Huh.
I've been twisting this around in my mind. I can't think of any other way this goes.
I have 2 crypto notes. My first note on cryptos is a number of companies have stopped selling video games with Bitcoin. And their reason is the volatility has become so aggressive up and down that at any moment, a game can cost you $30, or a game could cost you $100, or a game could cost you $5. And they just stopped this because they couldn't handle the turnaround for the buying and selling of the product because the volatility was so extreme.
Well, that's the other thing, is that Bitcoin's meteoric rise as of late, and several little meteoric falls, is not based on more mainstreaming of the use of Bitcoin as a currency at all. I mean, it certainly isn't exponentially growing because so many new companies are taking Bitcoin. That's certainly not why it went from 3,000 in September, off of a trading low for sure, but 3,000 in September to 19,000 the other day. It's not because all of a sudden the usability has improved.
And 15,000 right now.
Yeah, it's just the definition of a speculative bubble.
Oh, well, just with, I've talked to another person who's now a full-time Bitcoin trader, a millennial, quit his job because he's making so much trading Bitcoin.
Wow.
So what I said, what's your strategy? The trading strategy. He's like, I buy it when it dips. I said, and what happens if it goes down more? He goes, I just buy more. It always goes back up.
You will see him back at his old job.
I say, what happens when it doesn't go back up? He goes, it always goes back up.
Yeah, he'll use any profits he made to hire a lawyer/accountant to deal with the IRS. That's for sure.
The one thing that I just parked it there. That's all yours. The one thing that you definitely have in this situation when people compare it to the tech stocks of the 90s, right? Obviously, the speed of it's much faster. But number two is people forget the 90s gave us Amazon, right? There were some survivors there. And I suspect, we talk about pets.com and Webvan and Extreme Networks and how they basically went, up and then back to zero. And that's definitely viable in some of the crypto. There will be some cryptos that survive, right?
Oh, yeah.
We talked about this before. It's just when you see a rise like this in Bitcoin, by no means am I saying, and Mike, I know you aren't either, by no means are we saying that owning Bitcoin long-term is stupid. We're not saying that. Just what Mike just described. I buy it when it dips and then I buy more. Bitcoin could go down to $500 and then 5 years from now be back at 15,000. It could. That
no, it can't.
Easily happen.
No, it can't.
No, it can't. And Tesla can't go below 300.
Well, hold on. So I'm asking him. I'm like, is all your trading Bit? He goes. I go, do you trade stocks? He goes, oh, stocks are really risky.
Oh my God! Stop it.
No, stocks are risky. No, I did not. I'm actually serious. I said, well, he goes, yeah, I own a stock.
Tesla.
Oh
my God.
It's absurd.
He's doing the opposite of something risky.
I'm like, stocks are risky. Like GE is going to go to zero tomorrow, or AT&T is going to go to zero. It's backed by stuff.
Right.
Bitcoin is only worth what you can exchange it for at any one. It has no theoretical intrinsic value.
I love Stafford's anecdote. I love it. Again, blockchain is amazing in its simplicity. It's here to stay.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean Bitcoin is. It doesn't mean Ether is. It doesn't mean Dash is. It doesn't mean Ripple is. It doesn't mean Monero is. And we could go on and on. One or two of those are going to survive, maybe more. But one of the worst things about cryptocurrencies, just from a theoretical perspective, Venezuela talked about launching a cryptocurrency. The government. Because they're not able to get anything for the Venezuelan dollar anymore. So they're going to launch a cryptocurrency and do an ICO.
No.
When people talk about the limited supply of Bitcoin being part of the reason it's going up, true, there's a limited supply of Bitcoin, but that's like saying there's a limited supply of McDonald's, but you could go to Burger King, or you could go to Wendy's, or you could go to In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, this is a terrible thing to say. There's a limited supply of millennials to invest.
That should stay in the show. There's not a limited supply of cryptocurrencies. There's a limited supply of individual types of cryptocurrencies, but there's not a limited supply of cryptocurrencies. Isn't that part of the point of Ethereum, Mike? So other people can build stuff on their blockchain?
Yes.
So there is an unlimited supply of cryptocurrencies.
Speaking of Ethereum,
$1 million buying virtual cats on the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah, there you go.
They're trading virtual cats on the Ethereum blockchain. All right, at least Beanie Babies, you had a little tangible Beanie Baby. These are virtual cats, and people are spending real Ethereum to trade them. Some of these, the most expensive one that I read about so far went for $113,000.
Come on.
No.
What do they do?
What do they do?
The cats.
They're crypto kitties. They're crypto kitties.
Do they do anything?
No, but you could breed them. You could breed them like in. Yeah, you could breed. You have a orange crypto kitty and you have a blue crypto kitty, and you breed them and you make new crypto kitties.
You get a orange crypto kitty?
I blame Steve Jobs because he sold music for 99 cents and you didn't get an album cover, which is half the experience. And then it was in-app purchases and kids could buy more tractors for their farm.
I do miss album covers. Remember pulling the record out, putting it on, and flipping through the album cover art as you're listening to the record?
And then you see a joint in the middle of the wall and go, oh my gosh, this is 10 years old.
Huh?
Somebody left a joint in here.
Yeah, exactly. In the middle of the album cover, the double album.
Which one was the one off the subject? Queen? Was that the one where you opened it up and there were just so many people in there? It was almost like a Where's Waldo? I think that was Queen, the one with the big dinosaur monster on the front cover.
It was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was the kind of
there
first
was
one.
that one. Yeah. That's true.
What does this have to do with cryptocurrencies?
Are we done in the crypto segment?
No. We could go on for a week with cryptocurrency.
We could do a whole crypto show easily.
Well, I'm not even done with crypto kitties right now.
We are trying desperately to get the people that listen to us, at least, to calm down and not think. Bob and Mike told me to calm down, and now it's up 4,000 more. They're idiots.
Well, you might be. Maybe I shouldn't comment. No, the trading this week, and I don't even know what happened yesterday because the discrepancy between the Bitcoin exchanges, I talked about that in a YouTube video, was quite amazing.
From exchange to exchange, right?
Yes.
And then the spreads on the individual exchanges were crazy too, right?
Well, on GDAX, yeah, that went. Spreads were at one point 1,000 wide.
So there's something called Bitcoin Local. Have you heard about this?
Bitcoin Local?
Yeah, it's another attempt to get every possible middleman out so that there's no Coinbase, there's no nothing. You actually go on this, I think it's called Bitcoin Local, and you go on this thing and you find a person who has Bitcoin and you meet somewhere. And you do some sort of physical exchange, which I don't understand the mechanism of it, but you bring your coin wallets and you do some sort of physical exchange. You send them and you do them at a price. But the bid ask on that, when I first heard about it, was 15,700 bid at 18,000 offer.
Okay.
So again, taking the middleman out, but sometimes the middleman serves a purpose.
Yeah.
Those are for the purists, the ones who are like, I don't care, I just don't want a middleman. That's the whole point of this. Because now the exchanges are middlemen, right?
Yep.
It's always somebody.
Well, and there's multiple exchanges, so I mean,
and they're all taking a cut, right? Which again was supposed to be, it goes against what the point was supposed to be, that you could send cryptocurrencies to each other with no fees.
So you want Craigslist.Bitcoin?
That's what we're looking for. We should buy that. Craigslist hasn't done a Craig's coin.
A Craig's coin. Or an Angie's coin. You know, that you can use
Angie's coins.
Angie's coin to fix up your house.
Pets.coin.
Pets.coin to buy your pet supply. And it could be? The Pets.coin could be a sock puppet.
It could.
It could be a sock puppet dog.
With a coin face.
With a coin face. That's it. That's the next thing. By the way, did you see that hackers, they stole 70 million in Bitcoin this week?
From where?
NiceHash. NiceHash is the largest crypto mining marketplace. It's where people could go and exchange. I have extra computer power. You need computer power, so you pay some Bitcoin to use my extra computer power. Well, that got hacked, and they stole, I think it was 4,700 Bitcoins.
Wow.
And they transferred them all. They hacked the site. They took all the Bitcoins and all the wallets, transferred them to one wallet, then transferred that wallet out. And
wow.
So, like, everything on they're investigating, but it looks like it's all gone. Nice Hash lost all its Bitcoin, and anybody had Bitcoin stored there, or it's all gone.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, that's essentially an unsolvable crime, isn't it, for the most part?
Well, the wallet, they know where the wallet went, but you can't prove who's behind it. You can't just get it back.
The federal government is too busy investigating ridiculousness. They don't want to have to go after anything for real.
Yeah.
So, that. Also, the SEC cyber unit's first charges of target cryptocurrency fraud. So, the SEC has filed its first charges since being formed in, the SEC's new cyber unit formed in September. They're bringing a case against the company called PlexCore. Its founder, Dominic LaCroix, and its partner, Sabrina Paradis-Royer. They were defrauding investors. They did an ICO, ICO of PlexCoin, which already raised $15 million, and it was fraudulently promising the investors would see a 13-fold profit in just under 1 month. The SEC obtained an emergency asset freeze to halt the ICO. It's all fraudulent. There was nothing behind it. It was all just to raise money and essentially run off with the money.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. There's nothing stopping anyone from doing that. You could just simply say, I've got an ICO. We're going to do this. And it's been working.
Well, again, the largest one, the Tezos, which we've talked about before, that one raised, $230 million. That's now got lawsuits, and the founders behind that are now using some of the money that was raised to hire all the legal team because they're being accused of fraud and not having anything, and there's class action lawsuits. So now they're using the money raised to defend themselves from the people who gave the money suing them because they're not doing anything.
You shouldn't be allowed to sue those people. You should be stuck with your losses based on stupidity.
Buyer beware.
This is why it's going to get more and more regulated because it's just a matter of time.
Right.
So, and then you're going to have some governments crack down or ban cryptos because, especially with these wild rides, like the ride yesterday, 19,500, 15,500, 2 minutes later. I mean,
So I just did a live in studio thing, and one of the topics was Bitcoin. And when I left their studio with makeup on my face, when I left their studio, they one of the producers pulled me aside. He said, my wife bought one Bitcoin at $250 way back when. I said, oh, that's great. He goes, should we sell it? I said, well, let me ask you a question. He goes, what? I said, in what other investment world would you realize a profit of that high a percentage, which I can't even calculate in my head right now, and not have gotten out of some of it? I said, you can sell partial coins, right? He goes, yeah. I said, take $2,000 out. Just at least. Take 1,000% profit and then leave the rest and don't look at it for 10 years or something. I don't know. Put in a stop loss at $500. I mean, what kind of question is that? What kind of question is that? I don't know.
Yeah, take something off the table. Yeah, but it always goes up.
Sell it now. If you sell it at $15,000 and it goes up to $16,000, you're going to be mad at me when you bought it at $250. What do you want me to tell you? What would you do if you were in Las Vegas? Would you take the $15,000? Probably.
Yeah, I mean, if let's say you pump $250 into a slot machine, paying out $15,000.
Yeah, would you put the whole 15 back in to the slot machine?
I hope not.
I mean, that's like to take out some money, go on a vacation, and leave the rest in for 10 years and don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's why. But it always goes up. Don't just remember that, Bob.
Again, Mike, this is that same thing, and we've been talking about this in other products for years. In almost 26 years I've been doing this. Mike's almost 27 years. I have bought and sold the low and the high 4 times on any product in 26 years. For everybody that's saying I should have held Bitcoin because it went higher, okay, tell me what the exact highest dollar amount of it is. You tell me, because I can't tell you. All Mike does in those videos is tells you if it goes in this direction, this is a level that's going to matter. And if you watch the videos, it's a high probability of being right. So if you're actively trading it, the videos are great. But if you're somebody who's looking to sell the absolute high before it collapses, not only can we not help you, but no one can.
Yeah, if somebody picks the exact high at this point, it's just pure. It's like a luck. Okay, if you're saying, I called the high. Well, okay.
Or you're at one of the huge investment banks that owns 90% of Congress, and you've told them where it should stop.
Wow, that's more conspiracy.
That's more conspiracy stuff.
Well, so far the high on Bitfinex was early, little last night, which came in at 17,171. What else do we have? We have, let's see, on Bittrex, what was the high so far? Oh, now it's going to freeze it. This, you got to love when these, these, I guess the person's buying a lot more today because it's down to 14,716. What's GDAX? See, here's the thing I've seen a lot this week with trying to trade it. The sites freeze up. There's been so much activity, and it's been like sometimes it becomes untradeable.
It's not a mature market, right?
So that's the other thing. Like you're trying to get out or something, or take some profits off the table, or it's like I can't.
What happens when the big guys, the big money guys who can throw $250 million at this thing, come in and build these complicated HFTs because now they can hedge in the futures? They can hedge their company's portfolio of cryptos, of Bitcoin and cryptos, and they come in and they build matching engines that send it to the correct exchange. Because right now, if you want to arb this stuff, right, if you want arbitrage where you're selling on Bitfinex for $15,000 and buying it, Gemini for $14,500, right? You can't do it because you got to withdraw, put it into your wallet, open another account, and by the time you've done that with the speed it's moving, it's gone. There's no way to do it. But when these guys can throw 250, 300 million at the problem, they build matching engines. They have constant wallets at every exchange with millions of dollars in it. All of a sudden the spreads tighten up and it just doesn't move like the guy who quit his job expects it to.
Yeah, it'll look like the stock market.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's risky.
And then all of a sudden, that's too risky. That's the beauty of these, both the beauty and the shame for people who are making money. I don't want people to lose money. But that's the beauty and the shame for people in what's going to happen with these futures contracts if the institutions are actually interested. If they're not interested, don't think somebody like Jamie Dimon, and I'm using his name because he's the one who came out publicly and said Bitcoin's a fraud, it's a Ponzi scheme. So he's on record. Guys like him who have immense power are not going to allow all this money to be made without them participating.
So is it ever going to go down, though, Bob? I need that answer.
It is going to go down, yes.
Oh, you bet it will.
It will.
Oh,
It's going to be really ugly for a lot of people.
There'll be a lot of Lamborghinis on Craigslist for a real good price.
I really, Mike, if they launch options somewhere, I would really like to buy rolling Bitcoin puts when the time comes. Maybe too late at that point, but we'll see.
So, yeah, this is...
Yeah, some big player will come in and see how much they can move it up or down just to see.
I think that's already happened a bunch because I've seen rotations. It's rather fascinating. You still get these rotations in and out of these cryptos, and all of a sudden, what was it, IOTA?
Yeah.
IOTA went from at the beginning of December, it was trading at $1, and it went to 560 in the matter of days. It was just boom, vertical.
Yeah.
And then it collapses back down. Then it went to 320. Now it's back to 439. We caught on the rotation zone, rotating back up. So these things, and then it will sit. Let's see. Oh, see here, Litecoin didn't do anything for days. Anything for days. It's been even a couple weeks. It was in a range. I just looked at it right now. It's gone vertical.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Even if you take somebody like Mark Cuban, like an individual, who again is on record as being involved in cryptos in whatever capacity, we don't know. Here's somebody who has billions of dollars. Is he going to put $500 million into this? Maybe on a corporate level as part of an investment team that's doing something in these products. But I mean, these institutions that they're managing 20, 30, 40 billion dollars of somebody else's money. They routinely put $500 million at risk on something. These people have no idea the amount of selling pressure and buying pressure that these institutions can wield. And in a mature market like the stock market, it moves things. In Bitcoin, as they say in Donnie Brasco, forget about it.
Wow, you're bringing out the big movie quotes, huh?
Right?
Right.
We are well past your hard stop.
I know. I just noticed that. See, you got me.
Well, I've got to head to the exchange anyway.
That's a solid segment, boys.
Yeah, it's a good segment.
So just let me know when you have time, Bob.
I can tell you right now that the only time that I would have time is after 11 on Sunday, but it's got to be shortly after 11 or after like 3:30 on Saturday.
Here's an experiment. We could try delivering this show at this length, around a half an hour. People think the show is too long on YouTube. We've gotten comments like that. People have wanted to know where, and we could just try this Bitcoin only one, this crypto one, and just kind of roll with it. So I'll tighten it up. And then if we do, we'll touch base tomorrow and see where we're at.
Yeah, why don't you see what you can do, Stefan? If you like it, we'll leave it.
Sure.
You could even throw in a couple of 100-year or 100-show anniversary clips.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll touch base tomorrow with you two and let you know.
All right, Those are the times, just so you guys have them in your head. After 3:30 on Saturday or after 11 on Sunday. That's
Gotcha.
it for me. All right?
Okay.
All right, boys.
All right. Bye.